On September 15th, we effectuated another successful Apna Healthcare Day. This is something that was started in 2010 and has been conducted annually, where across the country our chapters get together and on a single day or a single weekend, they provide free healthcare services, healthcare screening to people in their communities. This year, we actually administered 2,400 flu vaccines, something that goes with our new Obamacare, with prevention and preventing healthcare issues. We gave 2,400 flu shots to people across the country, and we had 34 locations across the United States that participated in this event. In my own hometown, I live in Des Moines, Iowa. We did one at our Islamic Center, and we had a Mexican gentleman who does 4 jobs to support his family come in with his family to get the flu shots. We had a Somalian immigrant who came in to get a flu shot, and then a family from Kenya. And it was so touching to me to see that Apna, an organization of physicians of Pakistani origin, is offering this help to people who have come to this country to look for opportunity from all parts of the world, and here we are trying to serve them. So I think that this is a compliment to all of you for being a part of us and to help us in doing this. This is the true spirit of giving and loving, and this is why I became a part of Apna. It was all to serve the fellow human beings that are with us in our communities and thousands of miles away. My sincere thanks to the chapter presidents, to the volunteers who made this event successful, especially Dr. Nadeem Ahmed and Murtaza Qazi. The prolonged economic recession, maybe some of us, because there's job stability in medicine, have not felt it. But I can tell you that if you look around us and if you talk to some people, or I'm sure when you talk to your patients, you see the pain and suffering a lot of people are going through. So during Ramadan, I visited the food bank in Iowa, and when I went to the food bank, the lady in charge said to me that compared to last year, this year they are serving about 50 to 70% more people in the homeless shelters and through the food bank. This includes the elderly, it includes children who don't get food over the weekend because they only get fed during the school days, and then the soup kitchens. So what we did was we started a program with the help of our chair of our social welfare committee, Dr. Mubashir Rana. $1 to the food bank feeds 4 people, at least a single meal for 4 people, so 4 meals. And so what we did was we made a goal of serving 50,000 meals during the month of Ramadan. And I can tell you that when I started, I thought even 10,000 meals was impossible. But in 10 days, Apna membership came together, people gave their own money, and they had their kids, their families going to soup kitchens, shelters, and we were able to achieve the goal of serving 50,000 meals across the United States. When I went to our food bank, there were stories about people who were food insecure. And there was a story of, people just said, well, how can people be hungry in America? That cannot happen. But we don't realize that not everybody is smart, not everybody is educated. There was a story of a mentally handicapped man who at the age of 18, his parents were separated, nobody really cared for him, he was a burden. He was basically homeless. He said that he bounced around from homeless shelter to homeless shelter for years. He had never bought anything from a grocery store, and when he wanted to fantasize about a nice meal, he would actually have the courage to enter a grocery store and look at the food there. And then he would think that maybe, if I had a few dollars, what would be something that I would pick from here? And that was a gentleman who was in this country, who was born and raised here, who was an American for generations, but was going through such hardship because of his disability. There were many, many more stories of mothers who were homeless, were severely depressed, and their children saying, "Mommy, will we eat today? Or how many more days till we have a good meal?" So with that, we moved on to setting a target of another 50,000 meals for Thanksgiving, and I am absolutely optimistic with the fact that our membership will work with us on that. Another major project of major consequence is establishing a burn center in Lahore. As most of you know, We had Dr. Jawad from the movie Saving Face as a keynote speaker in the summer meeting. And we had Dr. Fahim from Pakistan. We held an event where the Saving Face movie was shown. And after that, we went on a fundraising thing, so we actually built a burn center to help the victims of acid violence and other burn injuries, because we've had two major disasters in Pakistan where people could not be saved because of even the most easily treatable burns, because we didn't have the service available. Lahore happens to be a center where most of these acid burn victims do come. So we started fundraising, and our goal was again rather huge, but so far we've collected $215,000, mostly from Apna members. But one of the most notable donations was a US Army soldier in Afghanistan who's posted out there, who read somewhere that we were doing it for the burn victims, and he sent us a check which took a month to arrive because he said that mail was sort of slow coming from there, but we ended up having that check of $10,000 from a US Army soldier from Afghanistan. Sharmeen Ubaid Chinoy, who was one of the recipients of the Oscar Award, has been in touch with me. She has been actually selected by Glamour magazine as the Woman for the Month, and so she requested to partner with us in raising more funds so we could actually build a state-of-the-art unit and provide care to people from Pakistan. So I really am grateful to her for thinking of us in that sense. We will be doing that fundraising next month. The next goal again, young physicians. You know, I am young, and so some of the young physicians have required help and support from us, and they are us, they are a part of us. So we've been doing different things as far as, helping them try to appeal for visas. The State Department has been very helpful. Most of our, I would say maybe 25 out of the 27 have gotten their visas, which is a first this year, and I'm very grateful to the State Department for helping us and supporting us in achieving that. Today we had a session. For the first time we actually live streamed this session. The Vice President of ECFMG, Mr. Stephen Sealing, two program directors, an immigration attorney, were all here, and we were able to do a 2-hour program so that we could update and inform the young physicians of the things that they don't know. It's a huge cultural shock to come here, and then on top of that, learning the ways of getting into a residency program and the interviewing process. It was all provided to them, but it was live streamed to Pakistan, so young physicians in Pakistan could also learn rather than just hearing from their friends over the telephone. I would like to say that I have a special thanks to our host committee, Dr. Arif Agha, Dr. Farid Agha, and their committee for doing a tremendous job, Dr. Mansoor Alam for picking our food. As far as my contribution is concerned, Yogi Berra once said that you can observe a lot by watching. So that was my part of the contribution, and I can't thank the team here enough for all the wonderful work they did in giving this event to us and for giving such wonderful evenings to us, which would be memorable for us. Another request I'd like to make is, if you came in, you saw that we have a constitution and bylaws, and there's amendments that we have requested to be passed. I know that your email has, maybe a lot of them have gone in spam, but we've bombarded you with emails in trying to get these amendments passed. So we're very close to our goal. We have forms here. If you are a voting member, please give us your opinion and help us in moving forward with Apna. So please do vote. That is a special request from me. I would also like to, at this point, say that my gratitude to my committee chairs, to the executive committee members, to the board of trustees, for working with me, for cooperating. Teamwork for physicians is a little difficult, but we've been able to achieve a lot this year, only because of the help of our team. I wanted to thank my husband Abid, my sons Mashal, Roshan and Kamil for their support and a tremendous amount of patience that they had to absorb, because sometimes I'm on the phone for 6 to 7 hours after I come back from work, and that gets to be taxing for all of them. My thanks to my sister Aisha and my brother Fuad. They are my backbone, my support, and most of all to my mother, who is the greatest and the most important thing in my life. I'll end by saying that our tomorrows need new and different solutions today. Recall the insight of President Abraham Lincoln. On the brink of the Civil War, Lincoln looked change directly in the eye and he said, "The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate for the stormy present and future. As our circumstances are anew, we must think anew and act anew." Please join us for the winter meeting from December 21st to December 23rd in Lahore, Pakistan. Please also join us after my speech is over for praying for Malala Yousafzai, the heroic girl who has brought a great sense of pride for all Pakistanis and for women in general. Because I can tell you one thing, that if it wasn't for education, I would probably be a lost soul somewhere. And it's because of the education that I received in Pakistan and then in the United States. Very much for joining us.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of announcements as you are all nicely dressed. There is a special arrangement for you for a complimentary portrait outside whenever you find a chance. My next guest here tonight is Sarah Peck. She is from the Pakistan Desk of the State Department in Washington. She has extensive experience in the region, including a tour to Afghanistan. She has also worked on Senator Kerry's staff at the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, focusing on Pakistan. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sarah Peck.
Good evening, President Zafar, chairs, Ambassador Galbraith, distinguished doctors, members, guests. It's an honor to be here with you tonight in Chicago. Let me start by saying that APNA has been a great friend to the State Department. We're impressed by all that you do to help your fellow Americans. In fact, I was quite touched just now hearing about the meals and the flu shots and the work that you've done to help acid survivors and burn victims in Pakistan. I'm truly moved and I thank you. Your work is really important. Your commitment to the well-being of people in Pakistan is a commitment shared by President Obama and the U.S. government. At your annual meeting last July, Ambassador Robin Rafel gave you an update on the current state of the bilateral relationship. And she gave you the breaking good news that the NATO supply lines between Afghanistan and Pakistan had just opened after 7 months of negotiations. This signaled a renewed commitment between our two countries to cooperate. And I'm happy to report that relationship is back on track. There's been a series of meetings since then. In September, President Obama's Special Representative to Afghanistan and Pakistan, Ambassador Grossman, who many of you know, traveled to Pakistan and met with senior officials and members of Parliament. At the end of September, Foreign Minister Carr traveled to Washington to meet with Secretary Clinton and members of Congress. She was interviewed by Wolf Blitzer. She spoke to think tanks, and she hosted an exceptional Sufi music concert at the Smithsonian. I was there, it was terrific. President Sardari met with Secretary Clinton at the UN General Assembly in New York at the end of September. And after all of these meetings, both sides agreed that the relationship is productive and positive and we are moving forward. So much so that Ambassador Grossman is in Pakistan as I speak. The pace of our engagement demonstrates that President Obama and Secretary Clinton see the relationship as critically important. We are focused on moving forward, and we have outlined an agenda for ongoing cooperation based on our shared interests. They are first, we have agreed to work together to counter the threat of violent extremism, including stopping the terrorists that plant the improvised explosive devices that kill Pakistani citizens and US soldiers in Afghanistan. Second, we have agreed to work together to help bring stability to Afghanistan and to make the neighborhood more secure. And third, we have agreed to promote economic opportunity in Pakistan and throughout the region through greater regional and international trade and investment.